Hi, I'm Adam Pennell, and today I'm going to show you how to cook the perfect steak on the barbecue. Today, my choice of cut is the back rib. You probably heard of the forerib. Well, guess what? This comes from behind it. The further part of the forerib is the back rib. This part here is the back end of the ribeye. So you've got all this kind of fat that's running through it, which is going to be deliciously tasty, but if we don't render it, it's going to be chewy. So I'm going to aim to cook these to sort of a medium level. So they're going to be just blushing pink when we eat them, not super red. That's not what I'm looking for. I always find that sort of any thick ribeye cut like that with lots of fat running through it is going to eat better if you cook it medium. So this is quite a thick cut steak, as you can see. Okay, quite a lot going on there. So to cook it directly over flames all the way, you get away with it, but you might end up finding that you burn some of the fat. It gets a little bit overcooked on the outside. So we're going to go with a reverse sear on this, which basically means we're going to leave it indirect with a little bit of smoke. Today we're going with some oak. This is an oak whiskey barrel. Okay, I don't know if the whiskey makes any difference at all, but like oak and beef really are like a match made in heaven. I love oak smoke on beef. So we're going to let these sit fairly hot on the grill, indirect, with some oak smoke until the meter tells us exactly when we hit rare. Once it hits rare, we're going to take these steaks off and we're going to let them rest. And we're going to let them rest until the meter tells us that they've rested on a rack. And then by this point, they're probably going to be dropping down in temperature quite a little bit. I'm going to take out the meter because you can't really sear with this. It only kind of, really it's for indirect cooking for sort of up to 275 degrees. But because we've only cooked it rare and then we've let it cool down, we've got a little bit of a window to get it back on the fire over the hot coals, get that crust built up on the outside, give it a second rest, slice, eat, and everybody's happy. Only going to go in with salt. I always say this is beautiful Shropshire beef I've just picked up from Ludlow Farm Shop this morning. I do not want to mess around with the flavours too much, just salt, pepper, smoke is all you need. Before it goes on, I'm going to take the meter, pop that into the thickest part of one of the steaks, which is around about there, I would say. Straight down to the core. There we go. Set up cook. Beef, steak. Ooh, it's not, the back rib's not on there. It is a little bit of a cheeky cut that you might not find too easy. So I'm just going to tell it I want it rare. It's all good. Drop it in there. So it's saying 52 degrees or 50 to 54 degrees. 52 is in the middle. Okay, we're going to take these steaks, drop them onto the indirect side of the grill. If you want to see how to set up a grill like this, go to my top 10 barbecue tips on the YouTube channel. I'm going to drop on a piece of whiskey barrel, and then we're just going to put the lid on with the vents the other side of the steaks. And making sure you place those vents over the meat, you can make sure that we get that lovely travel, the heat goes right over them, and we get a beautiful amount of smoke in our meat. Okay, look at those. You can see, but look at the colour on there. That is all smoke that's gone in. So what we need to do now is rest it, and we're going to rest it on a rack. So the best way to rest the steak is to let the air get all around it. This temperature is still going to be rising, so the meter's told us to take it off at an internal temperature of, it's at the moment 47. It's going to rise probably beyond 52. We want to sear it, okay? So we're going to allow it to tell us it's removed from heat now, so it's telling us 9-minute resting. We're going to go way beyond that. We're going to wait until the internal temperature's significantly dropped back past 52, so we know that it's cooked. It's going to allow us plenty of time to put these steaks back over the hot fire and really build up that crust on the outside, the Maillard reaction, caramelization, which is going to bring us a whole load of flavor. Okay, so if I was going to be eating these steaks now, this meter is telling me it's ready to go. It's been rested for long enough. The internal temperature I can see is still 53 degrees. The target was 52. Okay, so if I throw that back onto the grill now, there's potential it's going to come up another 5-6 degrees quite quickly. So to be safe, and so that I've got plenty of time to really get loads of caramelization on the outside, I'm going to wait until that internal temperature's dropped a good few more degrees. Okay, so meter's now telling us that it's hit 47 internal, so it's dropped quite considerably. The meter shouldn't be used for searing, so that's going to come out now. It's done its job, but I'm confident I can put that over this fire now for a good while, build up that crust on the outside without overcooking the meat, because we've allowed it all that time to rest. Straight over the hot coals. Just going to sear the edges off now. Get that fat really dancing. Beautiful. We're almost there. I'm happy with the caramelization there. So these are going to go off for a second rest, just for a few minutes before we slice them up and try them. While it's resting and it's hot, we're just going to give it its first hit of pepper. Freshly ground black pepper is a must on a steak. The wait is over. I'm just going to take the string off first of all. Get rid of that. Not sharp, is it? There we go. All right. String off. I'm going to run the knife down the bone. Make sure we take off as close to the bone as possible. Obviously that's always good for gnawing. That's a real good sign. Look at that. Blushing pink. The fat's nicely rendered around it. Let's slice across the steak now. So there's a nice fat cap there. Obviously the tip is going to be pinker. Look at that. Beautiful steak. It's a nice cheap cut too. These steaks were just £7.50 each. Look at that. It's going to melt in my mouth. So that to me is perfectly cooked steak. I'm just going to pick up a piece in the middle. Now it's kind of fallen into pieces, and that's because the fat that's running through it that we talked about before has all fallen apart. Look, broken down, but it's still super tender. Look, well, it looks tender. Literally melting in my mouth. Oh my God. I swallowed that with 8 chews. Oh my God, the smoke comes through. The salt, it's perfect. You've even got a slight smoke ring on the outside here, look. You can see where that smoke's penetrated. You know? Then it's gone white where it's had that sear, and then pink in the middle. Oh my God. That is a perfect steak. I'm telling you now, give it a go. The back rib, new cut on the scene. Give it a try. Absolutely delicious. I'm Adam Pennell, Shropshire Lad. If you like what you've seen today, like, subscribe, tell your mates and all that jazz. See you next time. I understand why dogs like bones. This is so good.